Back to the Manosphere. It's me, Carl.
Hey, what's going on? Manosphere, blogosphere. This is Stanley, and welcome to another Manosphere, Man-ish podcast, where we are encouraging men to be their better selves, to be leaders of their community, and also embrace their varying roles within the community. So today, we're gonna let Carl, my primo, my bestie, take over for a little bit and introduce today's topics. Go ahead, Carl.
All right, today, folks, we're going to be talking about spiritual health and mental health, two extremely important topics that are rarely touched on, and they need to be touched on a lot more because we have a lot of people, and we're not going to say that word to avoid any red flags from YouTube, so we're going to say self-deletion or something like that, something close to that, because they don't want that S word being said. So we'll say something else in reference to it.
What's the S word? Stanley?
Yeah, Stand firm. Yes. So we're going to be talking about those two topics because they're pretty serious, and we've suffered a couple of losses lately, and they've been an impact to society. So those are our two main topics. I mean, of course, we're going to branch off in different directions as we have our discussion, but for the most part, they're going to be based off of spiritual health and mental health. So first thing we're going to go over is spiritual health. We're going to be talking about the Lord, something I think a lot of people need to do. First thing is get you a Bible. The Bible itself, I tell people you want to get in there and start reading. Don't just go off of, there you go, Stan got his Bible. He's faster than I didn't get mine in time. So next time I'll have mine. And so the Bible is important. And I tell people reading the Bible isn't what's going to give you that aha moment, but what it does do is it clears your spirit, it clears your soul, so that way your connection to God becomes a lot stronger. And once you have that connection, your purpose can be made more clear. You'll be more aware of what God wants you to do. And that's a problem with a lot of people and men in today's society is they're without purpose. They're walking around doing whatever and not knowing what God's purpose is for them. And understand this, we all have a purpose, each one of us, whether it be to be a communicator, a nurse, doctor, all these things, it's a purpose that God gave you. And some people got it just because they got it, but for the most part, you want to get that purpose from God. And so get in that Bible. Another thing you want to do is get into a Bible-based church. The church is important because through your walk with that relationship with God, you're going to want to learn and understand better how to read the Bible, what the interpretations are. Sometimes you'll have your own, sometimes the pastor or a minister will help you along with your interpretation. Like I know my cousin Stan's been in the church, and we've all experienced those moments in the church. We've gone to each other's churches. We've all experienced the relationship with God. What you got to say about that, cousin?
Well, I just want to say, I don't want to take a negative spin on it or just a reality spin. We're talking about church. We're talking about, one of the things I know you always talk about. It is funny because what I don't like is sometimes you put some stuff out there as you do, and you've been doing it. So it's not like you're brand new to it. You are living this actual life, right? Unlike some other people. And you put it out there, and people kind of like, Carl's getting weird again. Carl's putting in weird stuff. What's going on with your cousin? And I'm like, word, really? I mean, like, this is what he's at least man-ish enough to know his journey. He's not doing it for anything else but himself and to impact those around him. So let him live, baby. Let him do him. And that's a problem for you because maybe you're not in touch. Maybe you need to be more aware of things. Again, I'm not saying you got to be a Bible thumper, and unless you could do that, you're not on the team. I'm not saying that. Everyone has their own walk. Everyone has their own relationship, but do not avoid the relationship. Do not avoid that path because you're afraid of what it might look like. I mean, come on, it's 2022. We're not doing that. Oh, I can't be into God because they might say something. I can't have a Bible around me because I might look weak or vulnerable. People, You think Jesus came on this world for the rich? He came on this world for everyone who has everything? No, he came for everybody and anybody. So guess what? That he came for the strong, but he also came for the meek and the weak. That's what it's about. So I'm not going to sit there and pretend to know every Bible verse, not at all. But I'm just trying to say, when we're going to talk about this or mention it, just be aware it is important, because it will change not only the words out your mouth, but the thought process. What's in your heart, what's in your mind will translate into what's in your hands eventually. And you will get that work done. So, that's what I got to say for right now.
Yeah, like what you were saying, some people being against it, and I'm going to tell you why, because none of us are without sin. We all sin. I sin as much as I do with God. I love the Lord. We all sin, and that's where people make their mistake. They think because they sin, or they see me sin, or they see other people sin, that they're like, oh, how are you going to talk about God if you sin? Well, that's why we're here. We're all here on this planet because we're all born sinners. So being that we're sinners, the difference is the person that sins and continues without remorse, and then the person that sins and says, you know what, I made a mistake. I'm going to own up to it. I'm going to ask for forgiveness and then keep it moving. But there's a difference. Those are the two paths that you decide to take, because you can sin and ask for forgiveness and keep it moving. But our Father God knows that you're going to sin again. But the fact that I'm man enough to stand up and accept that I messed up and request that forgiveness is where it stands me apart from most other people. Now, like you said, you got it. I get it too. I get some messages sometimes from people and they're like, oh, you're going to do the God thing again? I'm like, listen, the more people I can reach out to, because see, I reached out to you for you to be saying something about it. So that means it touched you in a way. So I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. I post prayers,
Amen.
I post spiritual motivation, all these things.
Amen.
Another thing I'm going to tell you, and it's going to sound crazy to a lot of people, but you want to listen to some spiritual music. Now, everybody loves rap music.
Hold on. Why do you even think it's gonna be weird? That's not weird. I mean, you got Lecrae, you got a bunch of people that have been doing it for years. I mean,
for sure. No, but what I'm saying is most people are gonna be like, oh no, I love my trap music. I feel you on the trap music because I listen to it too. But what music does to you is it ingrains in your spirit. And after a certain amount of time, if you continue listening to that music, you're going to start to want to live that life. It's going to start turning your spirit into a direction you may not want it to go. I'm not saying you should listen to gospel music or spiritual music all the time, but definitely get some of that in it, because sometimes your spirit needs that upliftment. They need that going to church and listening to the choir or whatever. But all those things is part of the cleansing of your spirit, and you need it. So definitely, if you can, listen to some more. I mean, even if you choose a day, something is better than nothing.
Sunday, hold on. No. I want to jump in real fast. I want to even say, you want to say even if it's on Sunday, I would say select a day that's not on Sunday. That's so cliche. Oh, it's Sunday. So now I'm gonna because I'm a reformed Catholic, where it was kind of like what I was. No one said this, but that was the implication. Y'all you could do what you need to do.
Right.
Do what you want to do up until Saturday.
Right.
And on Sunday, go to penance. And I was like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. That sounds all right. But then as I got older and started asking those questions that got me kicked out of theology class in high school, and it was before high school, in 8th grade, whatever, I'm like, you know what? It's not right. And when I had my priest, when I was Catholic, now I'm non-denominational Christian, but now when I have my pastor he told me straight up, I remember this. How come Father, blah, blah, blah. How come every Sunday we know what's in the Bible that I know what you're going to cover next week, because I see it here. I was an altar boy, and I was just doing altar boy practice. And then he's like, because that's the way it is. I'm like, well, my mom talks about the Bible, and she has about 4 or 5 around the house, and my neighbors are Seventh-day Adventists, and I talk to the kids that I play with, and they talk about stories in the Bible that are not what I'm used to hearing during Easter and other things. So what else is going on in the Bible? I was told it's not for you. I was told that's not, you're not supposed to read that stuff. You're not there. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, only if you're going to proceed after this and after your communion and after your confirmation to get your holy orders. Then I swear to God, that's what he said. That's what I remember him saying. That's when you read it. The Bible, the Bible is not for it's not for everybody, but he goes, there are things in the Bible that you can't understand. So it's not for you. And I was like, why? If Jesus says, bring me everybody, I'm everybody. He's like, go outside. I'm like, okay. So bringing that to right now, and what you just said about the music, and I'm just saying a particular day, we have to be aware that it's okay to be that. And that's the problem. Some people are afraid to let go, to let spirituality in, to let religion in, because they feel that they don't want to be a Bible thumper, or they don't want to be called a hypocrite if they do something different. And also because they don't want to be on that path, and they know they shouldn't be on that path, and they don't want to be held accountable.
Right, for sure. Like, and what you said right there about the was it the pastor or minister that told you that?
It was a priest. It was a Catholic school. So,
I'm going to go back to what I said. It was about the second thing. Find a Bible-based church is important, because there's some churches where there's some people out there just trying to get your money. And listen, evil's evil. Evil's everywhere on this planet. There's nothing we can do with that. But you just got to go somewhere where your spirit feels at home, where your spirit feels comfortable. And when you're in there, follow that direction, because most church have Bible studies. They have sermons that they do every month where it's a different portion of the Bible. But understand, they're doing sections of the Bible. They're not doing the whole Bible for the most part. That's where you have to do your homework on your own. You got to go home and read the Bible yourself. Me, I read the Bible multiple times. Each time I learned something new, which is the most wonderful thing about the Bible. Is as you mature spiritually, the more you read it, the more of an understanding that you'll gain from it. And like I said, the purpose, it becomes more clear what God wants you to do. As you read it more, you get closer to God, your purpose becomes more apparent to you as to what he wants you to do. The next thing I would say, and this is part of what I was saying, a clear spirit with God leads you to better people. As people go throughout life with evil that you do, sometimes you have this evil spirit attached to you that you start attaching other people that are all bad for you. Like, let's say a gangbanger ends up hanging out with more gangbangers. And so they just continue on this path of just bad. But that person that starts to get their life with God and starts being more spiritually clear, they'll meet more people, and immediately your spirit is going to be like, yeah, no, don't kick it with that person. Or that's a great person. You can feel the one coming from that person because your spirit is clear. But the closer you get to God and the closer you get into the word, those things become more apparent for you. So as you meet these people throughout your life, you'll get more people in your circle and you'll be able to boot out some of the bad people out of your circle. Like, cuz, you got to go. Sorry. It's nice knowing you. You're too evil for me. So that, you got any more?
What?
You got any more? Because that's that on the spiritual portion of it.
Right? Yeah. I mean, again, you definitely want to find like-minded people. And we're going to be who we are. We're going to have different people around us that might impact us, but also be aware of who's around and what they're doing, because it does influence you. They do say, birds of a feather flock together, right? Yeah. That's also has its truth. So what I gotta say, I got more to say about that, but right now we're not touching on it too deeply. But definitely watch the like-minded people and watch for like-minded people, and watch for people who are straight up intentionally, because I think intention and context is important. Some people are around certain things because that happens to be there every day because of where they are, but some people are there for something else. They're searching for something, and that's why I'm all about learning to be acceptance of the spiritual self that you might have to lead to some healing. And it's okay. But some people are being made to feel like it's a bad thing, or you'll be part of a cult, or you should be ashamed of it, or something like that. And that is just straight ridiculous.
Yeah, that's bogus. One more thing: help someone else do the same. Now, as you do your thing, you go through your relationship with God and you start to better yourself. There's people around you that are watching you. They're trying to see. You may have said to them in the beginning, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to be all, tripping like I was in the beginning, I'm going to start to do better. And, most people, they're going to be like, yeah, whatever. We know who you are. And as you do that, they'll start looking at you. They'll start watching you. And they're waiting for the 1 minute you slip up. The minute you start cursing, you start snapping. See, I told you wasn't going to find the Lord. They waiting for you. But
hey, whatever.
As you continue to walk and you continue to do good, you could turn around and put your hand out and help them start to get their life with God. Because, for the most part, the Christianity is network marketing. It's all about each one teach one. You learn, you teach somebody else to do the same. So that's it. Well, it's not it on spiritual health, but that's just a portion of what we got for you for today on spiritual health. Next, we're going to move into the more serious portion of this podcast is mental health. Now, mental health, even doing the research on this was shocking to see okay, you know what? I'm going to go into the stats first because I want you guys to understand what I saw. Like, some serious stuff here. So, let me get this thing out right here. So in me researching, I went to the CDC, of course. So all this information is from the CDC. And like I said, we're not going to say the S word, we're going to say self-deletion. In America, in 2019, over 47,000 people self-deleted themselves. Self-deletion is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States. Men self-delete 4 times more often than women do. 60% of it was through firearms, the self-deletion. And listen to this, 12 million Americans have seriously thought of self-deletion. 12 million, now that's absolutely nuts. 90% of those who did self-delete had a diagnosable mental health condition at the time of their self-deletion. Among adults with a diagnosed mental issue, none of them 43% never seek help. So with that said, I want you guys to understand a lot of times, so let me break it back. Let me take it back for you. Me being in the military, I know a lot of soldiers that really contemplated self-deletion after deployments, after different situations, post-traumatic stress, all these things. It does a number on the mind. It does something to you. And so Amen. There's a lot of soldiers that I reached out to, I talked to, even to this day, I still reach out to soldiers, check up on them, do a wellness check to make sure they're good. And sometimes that's what it takes. Sometimes people just need somebody to have a conversation with. And so I'm going to go into some of the steps I think we need. And it doesn't have to be that you went through something. Sometimes it's just good to get it off your chest. Whatever you're going through right now, whatever you've gone through in the past, even if you haven't gone through anything, sometimes just talking to someone makes a difference. So first thing I say, get in contact with a therapist or a counselor. Sometimes those conversations help you release the pressure that's built up inside of you, whether it's something from home, from work, or just something that you're dealing with, something that like a hurdle that you can't jump because of what's going on in your life. Like maybe you're trying to accomplish a goal and you can't reach it, and there's something that's just holding you back. Maybe that conversation will help you unblock that situation. So for sure. Next, have friends that you can confide in. Like I said, I reach out to a lot of soldiers, some friends, and I talk to them about what's going on in their life to help them get through whatever they're going through. And again, none of us, not one of us, is without the need for help. Myself, I started counseling, and this was coming back from deployment. I needed that counseling. I needed to speak to someone to get all the issues that were in my mind, off my heart, off my chest. And if I didn't receive it, I would have continued just thinking something and just having this anger built up inside of me, and I would not have been able to release it if I didn't talk to somebody.
Yeah, but hold on. Let me pause real fast and just go over but just make sure I put in here. This is not the first time we're going to talk about this. It will not be the last time, because this is something that's constant. Part of our community of people, and I don't want to get into the culture or the ethnicities of culture, which sometimes plays a role in it, because that is a pressure. There are pressures from different people from different walks of life, but part of it is the inability to feel you can be vulnerable, the inability to feel that you can ask for help and talk, and the inability to not have anyone to speak on. I mean, again, I got Everyone says, "Oh, Stanley, rah rah, you're all over the place." I do a lot of uplifting things, anti-bullying, workplace violence, you name it, conflict resolution, conflict solutions, divorce. I deal with all types of people that are going through things. And one thing I do, especially when I mediate, I might pause when I meet with them, the males or the wives, the children's mother, whatever, and their attorneys. And I sometimes sit back and just say, "How are you doing today?
True.
How are you?" And I'll ask the attorneys that.
Right.
I'll ask the attorney, "How are you?" And they'll look at me like, "Oh, wow. Thank you." And I'm like, "Okay, so how are you? All right, now let's get to work with your client." Yep. And that right there can change the whole tone of the conversation, the whole tone of how they negotiate. And that's something that we as men think we can't do. We got to be the alpha dog every time. Rah, 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 rah.
Being vulnerable. You can be vulnerable.
What is that? What is that?
You can be vulnerable. Like you're a man, but men cry, men get hurt, men's feelings get hurt. It's a part of us being human. We're strong physically, but in our mind, we have some weaknesses and we have to get through it together. And for a man to believe that he needs to be alone to deal with it, that's not necessarily true. You have brothers out there, you have friends out there that you can reach out and talk to and try to get through whatever you're going through. Don't feel you have to be alone. It doesn't necessarily have to be that way.
Nope. How about hold on, real fast. I got a phone call at 2:30 in the morning, real life, real story. And I didn't get it. I was knocked out. but I eventually did listen to the message this morning. I was like, "Oh my God, what is this?" And you know what it was? It was actually a therapist friend that I had who was calling me because he's dealing with something right now.
Right.
And he knows, if I'm up, I'm answering the phone. If I can hear the phone, I'm picking it up. Right. And he was like, he needed to talk to me about what was happening right then and there at 2:00 in the morning. I made the call to him. Everything's cool. Everything's good. But he just didn't have. So the therapist whose job it is to help somebody was calling on me to help him work through something. Right. And these are the things that we are afraid to do. We're told it can't be done, or we're made to feel ashamed of. Man up. Sucking up. What? Nah, not doing that. Nope. Trust me, not doing that.
Nope. Let me see what else. Oh, have friends that are honest with you, because there's some friends that are around and they don't want to hurt your feelings. They don't want to break any eggshells. They're like, no, you're all right. No, fine, you're fine. Nah, you need people that'll call you out. Listen, you're tripping right now. You need to sit down. You need to calm down and fix this. And if you don't have those friends that are willing to call you out on you messing up, then they're probably not really your friends. You need to have those friends that stand by you.
I never say, "Hey," I told somebody this the other day. This morning, man, I got a lot of problems, bro. They said, I was explaining to them, don't try to save my feelings by telling me a lie.
Right.
So let me be a problem that you are having with yourself. Right. Don't kiss me with a lie instead of slapping me with the truth. No. Hit me with that truth. Now, again, again, we have to be sensitive of the situation, sensitive of how we approach people. But I'm taking what you're saying to say you want somebody that could at least come to you and say, "Hey, listen, check yourself before you wreck yourself." Basically. Or old hip hop right there, right? Ice Cube. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. And you shouldn't be mad about that. Why are you mad? Because the truth is the truth.
Oh, no, you got to learn to humble yourself and take that advice, because sometimes when you hear the truth, it's going to hurt. That truth will come and it'll slap you in the face. Sometimes somebody got to tell you, be like, "Listen, bro, you got a pornography problem. You got a problem and you're abusive. You don't know how to talk to people." And sometimes you need to hear that. And don't take it as they're trying to disrespect you or hurt your feelings. They're trying to let you know, listen, the path that you're on is going to lead to destruction. You're going to lose your wife and kids. You're going to lose your job if you don't get yourself together. So sometimes
you're going to lose yourself.
Yourself, exactly, 100%. And we don't need men losing more men. We don't need that. We need to stick together, help each other. And women, I don't want you to think that we're trying to single you out and be like, we don't need women's help. No, it has nothing to do with that. What it is Men need to sharpen men. Iron needs to sharpen iron. We are
Yeah, but
hard.
hold on. You just said something that I want to. I don't think we can talk about it today, but I think we should find some way. Well, you said it also with. It's not just. I forgot what you just phrased it as, but you made a reference to something like You mentioned women in that mix, and
Right.
and I'm gonna tell you right now, as a man who's dealt with depression within my circle of friends and family, and I had a bout with not being so confident myself about things. And you think you can go to your woman, or you think you can go to the women around you. Sometimes they can't. Sometimes men can't, and that has to be understood too. Sometimes they're being told, not because there's an expectation, and this because there's been an expectation out here. So I'm saying you gotta be careful and be aware of it.
Yes.
The expectation out there.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying men are better off helping other men, because we know the plight we go through. And I'm gonna tell you why it's not a good idea for a man to talk to his significant other about an issue. When a woman is with a man, she's looking for him to be strong, the strength, and she doesn't worry because the majority of the burden is on the man. So now if the man goes to his significant other and starts explaining to her some of the issues that he's having with what's going on, she's going to look at him differently. I'm not saying all women, but a lot of women will look at their men differently if they're being told by that man who's supposed to be strong and in total control, and be like, wait a minute, maybe this is not the man I need to be with. But if he's talking to another man, the other man knows what he's going through, and he's going to be able to relate to what he's talking about. So that man talking to another man that's going through pretty much the same issue is going to be able to relate to him and say, okay, bro, I understand what you're going through. This is what I did, or this is how I got through it. But if you're talking to a woman, maybe she's not going to get the same understanding that another man would be able to. So now I'm not saying no woman could do it, but for the most part, a man is better off going to another male to have that conversation about what's illegal.
Trying to get us in trouble.
Yeah, for sure.
That's going to get people busted. That's going to get people in trouble. But you know what? I can't say you're completely wrong. I don't agree with you 100%, but I do see where you're coming from, and it definitely comes down to the relationship you hopefully have with your significant other, whoever that might be. The relationship, and also the level. Sorry, not just the level of the relationship, but what is that relationship for? Some men might be in a relationship of convenience, and that relationship of convenience may not be the relationship. Will be definitely what you're saying. Watch what you say. Or it might be a relationship where the person is using you to get through something. So maybe they don't even realize you're that crutch. Maybe they don't even realize that they're still hurt from their past, and they're coming to you for that strength. And guess what's going to happen? They're going to suck out your strength. And at the same time, when you go to them saying, hey, listen, babe, I'm not sure if I could go to work tomorrow because I'm feeling some type of way. I'm feeling not capable or not able, or I'm doubting myself. And I've seen it. I've dealt with it. I've seen people tell me, you're supposed to be the man here. Why are you acting like an itch?
Right.
I'm supposed to be the one crying and emotional. And here you are. What, you want me to hold you? I've seen women say that, son. They said my husband wanted me to hold him. Ew. I'm like, wow, really? And it was not just a few. It was a variety of women from a variety of spaces and places. And there are a lot that are like, yeah, nah, I'm not trying to be with a man that's an itch, a man that's going to be too emotional. I mean, I'm an emotional person, but I keep it in check and get things popping. But you better believe I'm vulnerable enough to say, here's what's on my mind. Here's what I'm feeling about where we're going, where I'm going. Am I being the best father? Am I being the best co-parent? Am I being the best son, the husband? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? I check myself on that, and that's being told that you can't, or you're weak or something like that. And I'm whatever.
Yeah. The next thing I would say is, control how you react to things. Like a huge issue in society is people having issues and overreacting to it. Like something happens, go through it in your mind. Try to understand it. When you react with understanding. Don't react with emotion. Don't react to to attack whatever's going on. React with the intent of solving something. Don't react with the intent of anger, because a lot of times when we react with emotions and primarily with anger, it's disastrous. We want to focus more on gaining a full understanding of what the situation is, and maybe even attacking it a different day, not the same.
Hold on. I want to walk back what you said to make sure that I'm sorry. I got to correct you on that. You said two different things. You said listen, react to solve it, but then you said, but hold on. But then you said react to like respond to it. Sorry, to hear it. Or something like that you said, because I don't think you should respond. What did you say?
I said do not react.
Right.
No, I said don't react with emotions.
Right. What else?
When you react with an understanding for you to solve.
That's what you said. That's it. Understanding. How about that? Don't say to solve, because sometimes it's about solving. I'm gonna take you back to one of my favorite movies, White Man Can Jump, where Rosie Perez looked at Woody and said, I'm thirsty. And he got up, got the water, and she's like, what are you doing? You said you're thirsty. I got your water. Well, I didn't want water. But you said you were thirsty, so I got your water. And she goes, sometimes I was just sharing to share with me. I want you to feel what I'm feeling. I want you to just understand that, like you said. I like what you said. Hear it to understand it, not to solve it sometimes. So that's called empathy. Maybe someone wants you to empathize with you, to empathize with them, not to solve it. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it.
Hold up. See, what you're saying, that's a woman.
What the hell?
I'm gonna give it to you. Men, we wear our emotions on our sleeve. If we want something, you're gonna see it. If I say I'm thirsty,
sometimes.
But listen. This is about men. We are talking to men. All right. So if I'm gonna tell a man, bro, I'm not happy with what you did, he's gonna understand I'm not happy with something he did. He's not gonna be maybe he wants me to hold him and put his head on my shoulder. We're talking about men right now.
That's empathizing. That's fine. You
but
heard him.
A man is not going to tell another man to get some water with some different information. He's going to tell him straight up, I want some water. And the dude is going to be like, all right, I got you. And he's going to get him some water. There's going to be no reason for empathy, because we're going to understand each other. What you're bringing up, that's a conversation that has to do with relationships with a woman. We're not talking about that right now. Right now, we're talking about if something happens to a man and he reacts with emotion instead of understanding the situation first, it's going to be disastrous. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. Then you know what? You're talking about different aspects, and I disagree with you. You sometimes want to vent. Venting is what that is. Fellowship is just what it is.
But sometimes venting right where you are is not the place for you to do it. Let's say you're at work and your boss came and disrespected you. You think yelling at your boss because you want to vent is a good idea?
Hell no, that's not what I said. You said listening, hearing somebody with the intent to solve. I said listen to it to the intent to understand. Like you said, listen to intent to understand. No, that's called empathy.
What you just said, sometimes you need to vent.
No, I'm talking about venting is what it is. You said a man's going to say, I want water. That means get me some water, in other words, right? Yeah. You say that's how it's going to be interpreted. I'm telling you, I don't think so. It might just be to say it.
Let's move on. We'll continue. So control how you react to things. I'm going to say it again for you to get a full understanding. When I say this, I mean, there's certain situations you don't need to be exploding. You don't need to be yelling. You don't need to be lashing out. Sometimes you need to accept what you were just given, maybe go home and think about it and process it, so that way you can understand what the full situation is. You can understand why you're in that situation, and then come back and give your rebuttal or your decision of what you're going to do moving forward. But sometimes people, when they're given something or something is put in their lap, instead of gaining a full understanding of what's going on, their first instinct is to just blow up, lash out. And it's more disastrous than not, because of them reacting with more emotion instead of understanding. That's what I'm saying. React with understanding versus with emotion. Comprende? Perfecto. Okay, well, this is the last thing I got is, for the most part, is stop taking things so personal.
I'm playing.
Taking things so personal.
I'm playing.
Yeah.
I'm playing. I'm playing.
Don't take it personal, because when you take it personal, something that can be easily solved is not right. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Say it. I'm being empathetic. Go ahead, brother. That's
What
me.
that sound?
That's my phone.
That's a phone. I say, what? That's a big behind vibrator, bro.
Go ahead.
What's that?
I'm being empathetic. Go ahead. Say your piece. Say your piece.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I want to throw a scenario out there later on the next time we talk about this, because I want to see where different headspaces are at. Because I definitely don't process things the same, and I definitely believe we got to come with a lot of other things.
Most people don't, for sure. No. But the bones of you processing things should be the same. You cannot react with emotions every single time. Reacting with emotions is disastrous for the most part.
Man, get your vibrator, bro.
Listen, shut up.
You're messing up our show. Like a jackhammer.
Well, the moral of the story, folks, is mental health, as serious as it is, we need to solve it with each other. You need to get in contact with your brothers, and not everybody. You remember, not everybody can be used as the crutch to help you along.
Yeah.
Some people, they're too far gone for themselves. So look for the people, and you know them. You see their posts. You see, like my cousin. You know, if you go on his page, you see what he's talking about. He's trying to motivate people. On my page, it's the same thing. It's all about motivating people. So we're two people you can definitely come talk to. But if you don't feel comfortable talking to us, find somebody in your family, a friend of yours, a friend of a friend, and get in contact with them. But you got to get whatever's inside out. Because if you keep it in there, one day it's going to blow up on the wrong person or in the wrong situation, and that's the last thing you need to do.
No doubt. You know, it's so funny you said that, because I tell people, again, I get it a lot. Well, it's so positive. Oh, I'm like, oh, I'm dealing with all kinds of things, because me as my profession, in my profession, what I do is to receive all that stuff from people, help turn it around, transform it into something else so they can make the best decision for their family. But I got my own grief, my own things that I'm trying to not avoid, but try to compartmentalize to when I'm prepared to deal with it. And sometimes that's hard. I mean, it's not easy. But I'm aware enough of myself to get that outlet. And one of my outlets, because I ain't trying to be no boxer. I'm trying to fight the world. I'm trying to fight the bad guys. And the bad guys might be inside of me. The bad guys might be that man in the mirror. The bad guys might be
the punching bag.
Might be my insecurities. You know, I got plenty of them, you know. I still got to work on stuff. And I just want to find that outlet, whatever that outlet is, which might be sometimes helping people, being there for people, giving of yourself. Giving of yourself can be a therapy. It can be a ministry that you need to do. Okay. And I'm not faking that. You know, that's good.
Thank you, folks. We appreciate you coming and hanging out with us, getting all this information. We'll have more for you. Please like, comment, subscribe, and definitely share, because the more people we share this information with, the better. The more people's lives will change. And like I said, we don't need to say the S word. Too many people are self-deleting. If you watch the news, you got a couple of celebrities, their children, all this
recently,
stuff needs to stop. We need to get together and help each other to do better. And on this podcast, that's our goal. So stay strong in the manosphere.
Hold on, well, my goodbye is going to be like this. Understand there are stages in how you deal with things, and it's okay if you understand that and create that space around you to have that. So different stages. I'm not going to go through the whole stages of grief or stages of whatever, but even in divorce, I've done thousands of divorces. I've helped thousands of men and women go through their family dynamic changes, and that can feel like death. That can feel like self-deletion. People, the male rate of self-deletion is exponentially higher than the females, and no one knows that, or no one says they care, or no one realizes it. So the stages of grief must be understood. It is a cycle. Where you are on the cycle is important. It is okay if you don't know. It's okay, but it's not okay if you deny it. It's not okay if you pretend it doesn't exist. It's not okay if you feel ashamed of it. You should not be. You should not. But what we can do is have a space and place to go to be better. And as I said, that's why we're here. We're here to encourage other men to find that space for them. If it's here, good. If it's not, fine. Just find it so we can encourage each other to be better, because we are influential and we do create that impact. Health, spiritual, emotional, physical, of all other areas of our communities, we do have a space and place to be. So we can't do that and meet those spaces and space and those challenges unless we identify them and are good with moving forward. So
100%.
with that, that's my goodbye. That's my see you later. That's my let's go. That's my get out of here.
All right,
Peace.
later.